Okay, so we talked about how Ketu in a Dhatu, Mula, or Jiva nakshatra has such profound impacts on our karma. I also wanted to talk about how the Dhatu, Mula, or Jiva classifications of a nakshatra, how they impact our concrete karmas and like things like our career or the things that we're going to be involved with in life. Is the native going to be involved more with, things like dhatu, like elements, minerals, chemistry, stuff, basically, stones, inert things? Or are they going to be involved more with Mula, plants, food, resources? Well, I guess minerals also resources, but environments, like we talked about that, emotions and feelings? Or are we going to be looking at a native who's more involved with people, with animals, perhaps a great hunter? Perhaps this person is a butcher, like how Ardra is related to being a butcher, and Ardra is a Jiva nakshatra. So you see, then you start to get why the stars have different qualifications. So this is the chart of David Lowell. David Lowell, I actually just thought, well, for Datu, wouldn't it be interesting to look at geologists? So I looked up into astro.com and I just typed in the words geologist, and this was just the top chart that came up was this guy, David Lowell. He is a preeminent miner and geologist. So let's analyze his Datu, Mula, and Jiva. Well, also, just so you know, the signs deal with Dhatu, Mula, and Jiva. The cardinal chara signs are Dhatu. So Aries is actually a Dhatu or mineral sign as well. Then it goes Mula, Jiva. Then Dhatu, Mula, Jiva, Dhatu, Mula, Jiva, Dhatu, Mula, Jiva. But we're doing a Nakshatra course here. But just so you know, yeah, his ascendant sign, Aries, is a Dhatu mineral sign as well. But this is a nakshatra course. But starting with the ascendant, because still you want to blend, you want to use all your techniques. So you look at that Aries lagna and you're like, okay, yeah, well, Aries is the sign of rocky ground, moving around in rocky places. Aries is the sign of mines and caves. It really just is straight up that. Scorpio and Aries would both have to do with mining and caves, but Aries is specifically the sign of caves, like how goats can go. Well, it's also a sign of like mountainous, rocky mountains in the rocky places in the context of mountains as well. But those are both environments where goats roam about. Um, and we notice that Jupiter, planet of wealth and luck and fortune, is on the ascendant, and it is in Aries, which is this sign again of mining. And the old books, Yavana Jataka, actually say that Aries rules mines. But it's also because its Lord Mars is the planet of wealth coming from the earth. Remember how we described Mars as his name is Kuja? Ku meaning earth and Ja meaning born. So earth born, the thing born from the earth. And because Mars has no parents in the normal sense. And so Mars rules wealth coming from the earth. Mars rules mining. Okay, so he's ruled by Mars. And look, his Mars goes to the 11th house of gains, of money making, of getting a paycheck. Uh, what we're going to find is his three very important planets have to do with the Datu quality. His Lagnesh is the first one I want to highlight. Mars. It is in Shravana Nakshatra. So Shravana is a Dhatu Nakshatra. So his Mars, his Lagnesh is in the field of Dhatu, minerals, elements, constituent mineral elements, and that's what he deals with as a miner. He deals with minerals. And Mars, again, is the planet of mining. So when you see Mars as a ruling planet or a self factor or an Atmakaraka, and it's in a Dhatu sign, you can think of like, oh, this person might work with minerals or elements or like chemistry or metals, you know? Mars rules metallurgy. Um, Now, what's also interesting is this Mars is Rashi aspecting the first house. For those of you who know the Rashi aspects and have taken the jyotish course, Mars is Rashi aspecting the first house, giving it strength because it's the lord of that sign. So giving it a manifesting strength to the career. So it's like the activity he does here manifests his path and his career in life, and that Jupiter, and then Jupiter is in turn Rashi aspecting back to Mars and giving Mars manifesting strength and showing like fortune around this Mars planet. Um, it's kind of, you could say like Jupiter is the planet of wealth, and it's Rashi aspecting his 11th planet, his 11th house, the house of wealth, paychecks, and aspecting Mars, planet of mining. If this was in the chart of someone wanting to invest in financial astrology, it would be like, yeah, you need to invest in mining stocks, you see, or in mineral stocks. Same ideas, though, would work. And then what's really cool is Venus is also in Shravana. How interesting. Venus has to do with like fulfillment. Mars is the hunger, Venus is the reward, the fulfillment. Venus is also here showing, and it's delighted. It's a good dignity Venus. It's in great friend dignity. So again, Shravana is going to work well. So this Venus is including that Shravana Dhatu mineral things will work well. And Venus is giving that fulfillment, the rewards of the metals, you know? Interestingly, Venus can have to do with copper, and he's done a lot of work with making money from copper. Mars also can rule copper, depending on who you ask. So he's got both of those planets there, and that's what he's done really well with. Venus is ruling the second house of money as well in a Dhatu Nakshatra. So again, making money through minerals, through metals, mining. Now we'll see that the sun is also in a Dhatu Nakshatra because it is in Purva Bhadrapada. So his sun, his overall destiny and light and activity in the world is in that destructive, transformative Purva Bhadrapada one. So mining is perfect for Purva Bhadrapada to destroy things, um, but in the field of mines, minerals, or the field of Dhatu. And so these all together are very interesting. And you know, yeah, it's like the path in general, you need to focus on again the Lagna just being Aries and knowing that Aries rules rocky places is a big hint, and getting wealth through like caves or minerals or rocky places. And that's what Aries is supposed to do is sort of like work harder to get its wealth, you know, like mine, you know, like hammer, like bang your Aries horns up against something really hard and then eventually find gold, you know? Um, and but it's not like his chart's just showing just this recklessness because he's got Venus there, which shows his education. He's very highly educated, um, from universities. I forget where, but this was just reading off of his astro.com profile. He's a very highly educated person, a lot of degrees. The 11th house is degrees, titles, diplomas, PhDs, things like that. And so the Venus is a Brahmin planet, so it's showing being really highly educated in this Dhatu field as well, like chemistry and all these things. I'm sure he's very highly educated in these scientific fields, and and that is kind of again showing the feeding of the wealth. You know what I mean? Through this Brahminical knowledge of minerals or Dhatu things. So this is a really cool example. And then, oh, the planet Jupiter on his ascendant, well, he's also must be like a guide or counselor of some sort. And what's interesting is it says that he later in his life became an independent consultant. So he was like an independent Aries, independent Jupiter guide, you know, guru, guider and guru of mines and mining. And then to tie it back into the K2 and Mula, uh, sorry, K2 in different ones. K2 is in a Jeeva Nakshatra. So again, it's about like just submitting or dominating these areas and destroying and mining and um, you know, getting the wealth through like kind of a cruel, difficult thing. But then Rahu is in Mula, and with the moon. So it's highlighting, in my opinion, environments, and so he had to pay more attention to environments. And what's interesting is that he found over 100 new mines on the planet. So he was really good at focusing on the environments to mine at and discovering new mines. I feel like that has to do with that Mrigashira, that weaving kind of context. The guy talked about how Mrigashira has to do with like wanderlust and van life and searching out the Soma. You see, so his moon in Mrigashira and with Rahu really close in a Mula Nakshatra is like sniffing out, hunting out the Soma in these mines, you see? And that was a key part of his success since that was where his Rahu Nakshatra was. Okay, so this is a cool example of how to do just more like overall career and overall predictive things with the Dhatu, Mula, and Jeeva in Nakshatras. Thank you very much. More examples to come.